Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to 99. I just came back from the gym, the usual stuff. Ate some food. I actually bought food outside since most of my meals that I prepped up are kinda not gonna be used until, or I'm not gonna make any more meal prep until I'm back from Vietnam. If you guys don't know, I'll be taking a vacation with my family in about 3 days for a week. So yeah, I've been buying more food for the next 3 days or something because I don't want to I don't want to meal prep and then freeze my food because I don't know how long it actually stays fresh in the freezer, right? My meal prep. And I kind of don't want them to go bad while I'm going on vacation. That's really the reason why. But yeah, I just ate some food and here I am. And turns out last episode, when there was no BGM on the title screen, it literally was just my audio interface, guys. I don't think because I saved after the fact that we knew that Kujo died in that other timeline, suddenly the game got depressing and didn't have any BGM. So no, it was just a very big coincidence that it happened last time. But yeah, let me do the last episode recap. So in the last episode, after we finished off, or not finished off, but did all of the stuff that we did before we found out that Kujo was dead. Of course, stuff changes because of the choices that I made. We're a lot closer to Kujo now, and we didn't see her dying. We got together as boyfriend and girlfriend, which I don't really mind if they do become boyfriend and girlfriend. It's just after 2 episodes ago where I thought that the story was gonna be very interesting. Like, the way they presented the problem was that she found out that she was a murderer. And now this story is as if she never found out, and I don't know, I feel like they're just trying to what is it? In Indonesia we call this like ngaret, which is basically trying to what is it in English? It's trying to make the problem like at the end by extending these like random things that we're seeing. I know these aren't random things, but you guys kind of understand what I'm trying to say, right? They presented the problem, they never solved the problem, and then we're just shown these events that doesn't really matter in the long run, in my opinion anyway, because the core issue was still not resolved in that problem that they showed. They're just showing us some good times here. So yeah, that's what happened. And I kinda knew this was gonna happen last episode since 2 episodes ago, that was the reason why I stopped. Because I knew where the story was heading and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to enjoy it. Since, they're clearly not going in the direction I want the story to be. Well, that's not necessarily bad or anything, it's just, I don't know, I'm gonna withhold judgment. Someone on the comments said this is actually their favorite visual novel and they're Japanese. So there's gotta be a reason why this is their favorite visual novel. So far, I still feel like I'm so fixated on that like detail that I can't seem to enjoy everything that the game has to offer. But let's just continue on. Because this is after the H scene where Sophie tells us that she was overseeing the timeline and the fact that, they told Kakeru and Kujo that Kujo was dead in the other timeline by meeting up with the Evil Eye user. So yeah, this usually is my last time of recording the episode for 99, right? 3 episodes per week. But I haven't really been streaming as much as I did. I don't think I've been streaming for the past 3 weeks or something. So tomorrow is usually my stream day, but I think tomorrow I'm just gonna record some more 9-9 if I'm not actually done with this first episode yet. So yeah, I just wanna say that, or put that out there. So let's continue. This is exactly right after we got into the H scene. The H scene was amazing, by the way. Like, I'm not denying the fact that the graphics of the game is amazing, the characters are nice, but it's just the way they presented the issue on that 2 episodes ago, and the way they just kind of shove it under the rug. That doesn't bode well with me.
ロードしたよ。じゃあ、その、
ああ。
またね。また明日。
Can't we just offer to walk her home?
ああ。また。
I don't think it's very safe for, like our girlfriend to be walking around late at night. And I don't think I'm being such an overprotective, like, boyfriend if I say that, right?
じゃあ。
気をつけて。
Our parting is more than a little awkward, thanks to both of us being unable to get over the afterglow. Miyako gets on her bike and rides off into the distance. I'm worried about letting her go alone, but unfortunately, I don't have a bike here. I mean, I don't think she has a problem with just walking there. Well, she said the pedaling would take about 20 minutes if she pedaled slowly. So let's say when walking, it's gonna be like double that, 40 minutes. I personally don't mind walking 40 minutes, but I guess the average person would mind. I don't even mind like walking 3 hours from my house to my sister's house. But then again, I'm an exercise nut. My house to my sister's house is about 13 kilometers, by the way. The reason why it takes about 3 hours is because the road there is not just a straight line, it's very zigzaggy. And, the roads here suck. Miyako wouldn't approve of riding 2 at a time, and it might be even more dangerous if she had to slow down to match my walking speed. I don't think so. So I resigned myself to her going alone. I watched Miyako... I was saying... I should be saying Kujo because last episode... It feels wrong for me to say Miyako. I watched Kujo ride off until I can no longer see her. I returned to my room and lounged in bed. I roll around on the bed and beat up the mattress. I lost my virginity. And I took Kujo's. I'm totally, creepily worked up. To think that I would graduate into adulthood today. This is a big deal. But I can't afford to be too giddy over all this. Parallel worlds. Branches. In another branch, Kujo and I had a falling out. Maybe it was during that awkward period a while ago. Unable to clear things up, Kujo went out on her own and lost to the culprit. But in this branch, we're together. Kujo has me on her side. Even though we haven't been dating very long, a strong bond connects us. I'm sure I can protect her. Now, I just have to think, how are we going to do this? Better be confident than not confident at all. So, but don't be complacent, Kakeru. My only goal is, at all costs, to keep Kujo from dying. I never ever want to lose her. I took a look at the other games, by the way.
つまり10話のシーサの魔月の深淵より来たれりというセリフはこれから起こる凶事を予言すると同時に蛇神様のご降臨を
Why is she talking about the anime? But yeah, as I was saying, I took a look at the cover of all of the other episodes because fortunately enough, all of the games are on sale on Steam right now. I don't know for how long, but I just bought all of the episodes, including the new episode. Because, you know, I only bought the first episode of this along with Autry on the last summer sale, or I don't know what sale it was, but yeah, I bought Autry and then the episode 1 of this because I kind of feel like I was gonna let's play those games anyway, so I just snagged them up when they were on sale. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised that it got on sale again. It's actually a very good coincidence. Like, you know, like the other games for 99. Like, I guess the RNG gods have blessed me. But yeah, I saw that the cover for episode 2, 3, and 4 are like all of the girls that we've already seen. So chapter 2 is Sora, chapter 3 is Haruka, and then chapter 4 is Noah. I don't know what the new episode was. I assume it's just some sort of DLC where all the story is done. It's just like fan service where we talk to each other more. But I don't know. I'm just guessing. But it got me thinking, maybe we're gonna get closer to those guys in those chapters, and we might not necessarily be with Kujo in all of the episodes, is what I'm guessing. But I don't know. That's just my speculation from looking at the cover of the games, of the episodes, I mean. Once a week, the city force feeds us a shitty lesson that teaches us about the local folklore through details from the anime. And that in no way helps us come test time for things that actually matter. And that's so awkward to say, but I assume it's right. Needless to say, Miss Naruse is really phoning it in, and the whole class is ignoring her. Same goes for me. I've been completely occupied by trying to narrow down our killer's identity. Sophie gave us some useful information about what occurred in that other branch. While I'm not sure I should believe everything she said, I'm not going to get anywhere without at least some sort of lead. I'm going to assume that everything Sophie told us is the truth, organize the information, and then see what conclusions it leads me to. First of all, Kujo and I had a falling out for one reason or another. Because of that, Kujo went working on her own. As a result, Kujo used her ability and identified the culprit. And finally, she was murdered by them. So I don't think she would use her powers on every random passerby outside of school. So I assume she found the culprit by looking at the memories in our school. At least, it makes sense to me. That's like my speculation anyway. The situation is so radically different from what's happening in our world that I decided not to focus on how things would end up like that. I don't have any idea why it would happen anyway. Most likely, we've avoided whatever twists of fate caused us to separate. And thus, Kujo won't go off on her own. So the way I see it, since she's got me with her, the possibility of Kujo being murdered by the culprit has dropped considerably. Therefore, I can move on from that and focus on who Kujo used her abilities on. Going off what Sophie told us, Kujo identified the culprit in less than the span of a week. Some of that time was the Golden Week holidays, so it might only have taken her a couple of days. How was she able to identify the culprit in such a short time? I can't help but think they must be a student here, or a teacher, or maybe a customer at 9 Ball. If it's a teacher, it might be Miss Naruto is what I was speculating before too. Because she was in the shrine multiple times, right? So she must have been already very suspicious of someone from the shrine. And Miss Naruse's family runs the shrine. But one way or the other, the culprit must be somewhere very close by us. Very close by us? Can't that just say very close by? That's so weird. I'm gonna say that's a typo, okay? You guys can't convince me otherwise. That just sounds so weird when I say it. There's also one more point I should focus on. That being, why did the culprit smash Kujo's statue? Huh, that's true. don't necessarily need to smash the statue. That's actually true. I never thought about that. Because they were trying to prove a point? The culprit had been simply turning girls into statues up until that point. So why did they go out of their way to break Kujo's statue and only hers after the petrification process? Did they want to check if their abilities were developing? Or maybe they had a personal grudge against Kujo? I can't even imagine why someone would, but if that theory is correct, then the culprit must be someone with an extremely close relationship to Kujo. Otherwise, there would be no reason to have any strong feelings towards her at all. Now, taking all of that into consideration, we have pretty clear guidelines on which to base our search. But whatever happens, we mustn't let people learn about her powers. Even if Kujo's powers robbed the target of their memories of the whole event, anybody talking to them would easily detect that they're acting weird. It's a major weakness of her ability. True. If the culprit is observant enough and smart enough to figure out what's going on, then using any powers with reckless abandon could be a huge risk. I sigh and take a step back. At the end of the day, there's no way to eliminate all the risks. All I can do is trust Kujo. I'm such a pathetic boyfriend. If I really am a user, I wish I'd unlocked my powers already. God damn it.
ここで注目していただきたいのが仁義白蛇の石段でして、これを用いて蛇神様はこの土地から邪気を
Miss Naruse drones on. Come to think of it, didn't Sophie mention something about the anime being pretty accurate? The sacred relic was the red eye of the white serpent, an artifact. The world's eye, the evil eye. Wait a second. I see. Damn it, Sophie. You've been holding out on us. I mean, it's kind of clear that she was withholding information, but I actually don't know what Kake was trying to get here. After school, Kujo and I head out of the classroom and make a beeline for the front gates. There, we plan to meet up with Sora and head to my place.
ウィスお待たせ。
ああ、お疲れ。
あれ、みやこ先輩は
自転車取りに行ってる。
蹴ったか。
あ、
名古屋だと蹴ったマシンって言うんだって。
かっこいいな。
合体しそうだよね。お待たせ。あ、来た。蹴った蹴った。何？
方言なんだってさ。行こうぜ。
みやこ先輩、カバン入れてもいい？うん、どうぞ。
We start walking together. Kujo says she wants to drop by the supermarket, but since the plan is to split up early today, we got straight to my place.
長い髪落ちてる。浮気ね。女連れ込んだでしょ。
そういうのいいから。
ごめんなさい。多分私。
みやこも真面目に答えなくていいから。
Dropping our bags wherever, the three of us sit around the table. Now then, today we have a serious discussion ahead of us.
まずは。
あ、はい。
なんだそら。
二人に聞きたいことあります。何？かけるくんとかみやことか呼び方変わってたけど、お前ら付き合ってるだろ。
さて今日は。
うわ、付き合ってんだ。嘘でしょ、付き合ってんだ。
いいだろそれは。
いや、よくないよ。何隠そうとしてんのこの野郎。お兄様には大変よくしていただき。何その挨拶。私、あなたとの交際なんて認めませんことよ。
Sora's voice reminds me of someone, and it's very recent that I've heard this voice. Who is it? Is Sora Fia? Oh my god, if Sora is Fia, I'm gonna be like... There must be a reason that I really like her, then it must be the voice. I think this is Fia, isn't it?
いいから二人とも落ち着け。みやこも空の冗談に本気でショック受けなくていいから。
ごめんなさい。 あることないこと宮子先輩に吹き込んで破局に追い込んでやる。
This has gotta be fear. Oh my god, it only took me like 6 episodes.
おいやめろ。
まあいいや、どうでも。で、何？早く話してよ。
めっちゃ不機嫌。とりあえずもう一人呼ぶ。
ソフィーさん？
そう、ソロはまだ会ったことないよな。
名前聞いただけ。ぬいぐるみなんでしょ？
マスコットっぽい雰囲気を醸し出してるけど気をつけろよ、毒舌だから。ソフィーいるんだろ、来てくれ。
来ませんけど。
おい、俺のこと監視してんだろ。聞きたいことあるから早く来てくれ。
I mean, she's definitely monitoring us. She just doesn't want to, I guess.
何？すごいびっくり。
A rift in space tears itself open, and Sophie pops half her face through. About time she showed up.
ソフィー、聞きたいことがあるんだ。ソフィー？
それが人に物を頼む態度？前々から気になっていたのよね。あなた礼儀がなってないって、特に私に対して。
それはお互い様だろ。
このまま帰ってもいいんだけど。
I mean, what I like about Sophie though is she's the same way with everyone. The problem with Kakyo is that when he clearly likes someone, his attitude changes into like, 180 degrees.
ソフィーさん、聞きたいことが。
I mean, I guess that's normal for some people, but I don't know. For me, I personally act the same to everyone, including my own family.
はあ？さん？
ソフィー様、聞きたいことがございますので、こちらに来てくださってもよろしいでしょうか。
いいでしょう。
With a pleased sniff, she passes the rest of the way through the rift in space. This thing is a real pain in the ass, I swear.
うわー、すごいかわいい。
ありがとう。あまり騒がないでね。私、あなたみたいに想像しい子苦手なの。
うわー、初対面で。うわ
で、何が聞きたいの？
魔眼について。
石化の能力、以上。
いや、もっと知っているはずだ。
Sophie's expression hardens ever so slightly. It would seem that I guessed correctly.
他の枝での知識と経験を得る。世界の目だったか？
そうね。
アーティファクトには名前がある。
当然、名前をつけないと管理がしにくいし。
じゃあ、ミヤコと空のアーティファクトの名前は？
まだないわよ。セフィロトのリストにはないアーティファクトだから。回収したら名前がつけられるんじゃない？
So they're insignificant artifacts, is what she's trying to say? They're not as important?
やっぱりな。
何よ。何が言いたいの？
セフィロトの管理しきれていないアーティファクトが流出した。そうだな。
Yeah?
それはもう話したでしょ。
だったら、石化のアーティファクトをなんで魔眼って呼んだんだ？
Yeah, that's true.
本当に妙なところだけ鋭い。
So she's lying since the beginning then. She clicks her tongue at me, so she knows all of the name of the artifacts then, right? So she was bluffing when she said these artifacts were things that they weren't watching. So did someone steal them? I mean, I kinda said something along these lines, right? About how if they really weren't watching these artifacts, why the hell would they want them back? I knew this rat had been hiding something.
魔眼のこと知ってるんだな。
ええ、知っているわ。
じゃあどうして？
話さなかったのかって？仕方ないでしょ。規則なんだから。
セフィロトのか？
必要以上に漏らせないのよ。こちらの情報を。
回収しようとしているアーティファクトの情報が必要じゃないっていうのかよ。
こっちにも立場があるのよ。たとえ協力者だろうが、気を許してペラペラと機密を話してしまったら、その瞬間私は無職よ。社会的地位を失うの。
話したくても話せない。
Still don't trust her.
そういうこと。でもそうね、あなたたちに死なれたら面倒なことになるし、一つだけ教えてあげるわ。言いふらしたりしないでね。
ああ、約束する。
魔眼のユーザーと1対1で対峙してはダメ。必ず複数で行動すること。
Why would that be?
2人でいれば魔眼の能力を防ぐことはたやすい。
Oh, it must be the like condition of his artifact.
もっと早く聞きたかった情報だな。
他の枝でミヤコが死んでいなかったらこのヒントもあげなかったわよ。
大丈夫、気にしないでソラちゃん。
他にも何か？
いや、話せないんならもういい。ありがとう、助かった。
まったく、忙しい私をその程度のことで呼び出すなんて。
都の命がかかってるんだ。その程度なんて二度と言うな。
あら、意外と暑苦しい男なのね。
Sophia offers a snarky parting shot as the space around her begins to distort.
じゃあね、困ったことがあったらまた呼んでちょうだい。アドバイスできるかはわからないけれど。
She waves a stubby little hand at us as she disappears into the subspace rift.
態度でけえ。
ナチュラルに人を見下すタイプなんだよ。あいつに言われたことあんま気にすんなよ。
結構刺さったけどね。てかさ、何あれ。
あれって？
都先輩が死ぬとか命がかかってるとか。
The fact that I know this is Fia is gonna make me like Sora a lot more than I already did. I mean, I didn't really dislike Sora in the first place, but the fact that I know the voice actor now, definitely gonna make me a bit more biased towards her.
予言みたいなものなのかな。予言って、都先輩死んじゃうの？
死なないし死なせない。そのために俺たちがいるんだ。手伝ってくれるだろ、ソラ。
そりゃもう当然っすよ。ありがとうソラちゃん。で、手伝うってどうすればいいの？ずっと都先輩のそばにいればいいの？
当てにしてんのはお前の力だ。
ほう、地味で使えねえとか言いやがった私の力をですか？
根に持ってるな。
当たり前ですよ、持ってますよ。
訂正するよ。最強の能力だ。
そこまで言われるとちょっと気持ち悪いですけど、ソラちゃんに存在感を薄くしてもらって私の能力を使う？
ああ、分岐点は犯人に都がユーザーだとバレることだと思うんだよ。自分の存在を暴きうる力を持つ。
It might not be the teacher, because the first time we actually talked about the artifact thing, she was talking to the teacher about trying to exorcise the item, right? But I don't know whether or not she showed the item to Miss Naruse. So it might still be the teacher, but it's a very low chance.
だから都の能力を隠し通すことができれば、全く警戒されず犯人を特定することも可能なはずだ。犯人さえ見つけちまえばこっちの勝ちだ。何せこっちにはお空様がいるからな。
私の隠密術、活躍する時が来たようですね。あれ、なんか不安そうな顔してますけど、私信用ないです？違うの、そうじゃなくて。
何か不安が？
私もしかしたらもう犯人に知られているのかもしれない。
If they already know, then that raises the chance that it is the teacher.
なんで？火事の時能力を使っちゃったから。
あ、
How could I forget about something so important? That's true, but only a couple people saw that, right? And mostly teachers. Though I don't know whether or not Miss Naruse was down there. So there's a possibility that the culprit is already keeping an eye on us then.
現場を見てたなら犯人は1年友達とかに話しているかもしれないからそうとも言い切れないと思う。
能力を把握されている可能性がある。
I don't think all of the first years would have seen her using her power because I don't think Sora saw her, right?
それでもしかけるくんみたいに頭の回転が速い人で私の能力が記憶も盗めるって気づいてしまっていたら
真っ先の都。
私はもう狙われているのかもしれない。でもあるそんな記憶まで盗めるかもってそこまで考えちゃう人。
The fact that they probably don't know that they're gonna be able to steal memories, but they know that they can steal items. So if I were the culprit or the evil eyes user, I would put Kujo here into my priority list. But as long as she's not close to me, I wouldn't probably do anything to her. But I would probably try to kill her if I got the chance.
人を殺すやつだぞ。普通はとか常識ではとか考えない方がいい。
じゃあ速攻で決めないと。あっちが動く前に犯人捕まえないと。
ああ、そうだな。犯人は間違いなく俺たちの生活圏にいる。捕まえられるはずだ。
まず誰の記憶から読めばいい？かけるくんの判断に従う。
それだよな。結局手当たり次第にはなっちまうんだが、犯人が動いているかもしれない以上、少しでも条件を絞りたいところだな。
あ、そうだ。それについて私、お兄様に進言がございますよ。
聞かせてくれ。
はい。皆さんもう忘れているでしょうが、私、アガスティアの葉を毎日チェックしていまして。
I hate that they actually typoed that into using an I.
掲示板。そうそう、それでね、エデンの女王覚えてます？なんか宮子先輩が露骨に嫌な顔しましたけど。
まあ因縁みたいな。
まあいいけど、なんかね、連休中にオフ会やったっぽいっすよ。オフ会？ネットで知り合った人とリアルで会うことっすね。じゃあ
高坂先輩、他のユーザーとも接触している可能性があるのか。
偽物だけかもしれないけどね。でももし本物のユーザー同士の集いだったらどうでしょう。犯人とも接触しているかもしれない。
True?
まあそんな間抜けではないと思うけどね。殺人犯がのこのこオフ会とか。
まあな。
常識を当てはめるなでしょ。
ああ、人を殺してビクビクするようなやつなら二人も殺さない。都のことを狙わない。間違いなく犯人は人殺しを何とも思っちゃいない。だから普通の生活を送っているはずだ。のんきにオフ会に参加してバカ話で盛り上がってても不思議じゃない。
そのオフ会はどこで行われたの？もちろん聖地っす。聖地？ああ、そっか。アニメのサイトだもんね。一応はアニメの聖地を巡礼しようって趣旨だったみたいよ。
Reported? God, what is this word?
聖地って具体的には？
さあ、どこ行ったかわかんない。
そっか。じゃあ本人に聞くか。
高坂先輩の記憶を読めばいいんだね。
ああ、参加者が分かったら次はそいつらの記憶を読んでいこう。
わかった。
Couldn't we know something more about her power? If we were trying to use your power to steal memories anywhere? Might as well do, kill two birds with one stone.
そら、記憶を読むときは一緒に頼む。
オッケーオッケー。朝がいいよね。確実に会えるし。早速明日読んでみよう。記憶ってさ、好きなの選んで読んだりできるの？どうだろう。まだ1回しかやったことないから 多分だけど一番強い記憶が読みやすいのかな。目に見えないものだから選ぶのは難しいかも。
The easiest one to read is the strongest memory. So what you're trying to tell me is that Kakeru's guilt is way stronger than his love for you, which in my opinion is not true. He was clearly driven by lust and love, so I don't think that was the first thing that would have been in his mind about the fact that he kept something from you by not telling you you're a murderer. I think that's a freaking... I don't know. I feel like that doesn't make sense to me.
じゃあ出たとこ勝負か。そうなっちゃうね。
犯人は間違いなく近くにいる。うちの生徒である可能性も高い。当たりの記憶が読めることを祈ろう。よし。じゃあ今日は解散にすっか。
久しぶりにみやこ先輩のご飯食べたかったけど、命狙われてるなら仕方ないよね。
あんまりそういう直接的な言い方するなよ。
あ、すんません。
大丈夫。ソラちゃんも気をつけて帰ってね。
私は電車乗るだけだし、スニーキングできるし別にね。じゃあ帰りますか。
またね。
一緒に帰るんじゃないの？
ちょっとまだ個人的な用事があって。
イチャつくつもりか？
いえ、
イチャつくつもりか？
ソラ君。
なんすか？だから黙って1000円札出すなよ。買収しようとするなよ。
それでケーキでも買って帰りなさい。
だよもう2人して邪魔者扱いしてさ。
そういうわけじゃ。
もういい。バカバカ。ニーヤの母ちゃんデーベソ。
お前いいのかそれ。自分のおかんもディスってるぞ。
あ、そうだ。ファイナルビルダーズ借りてっていい？
What did she say? You're not a brother, you're a bastard? How does that actually say something about our mom? He did say okay, so I think that's definitely something that we don't understand because it's localized there.
急に素になるなよ。いいよ。ゲーム機ごと持ってけ。
やったー。じゃあね。イチャイチャして爆発してしまえ。
This has gotta be Fia, man. I don't think this is not Fia. This has gotta be Fia, 100%. Now that I've actually hear it closely, this has gotta be Fia. Sora packs the game system on my shelf into her bag and exits my apartment. What system is it? Is it a Nintendo Switch? I guess a Switch is pretty light. If it's a PS4, that's pretty heavy. The click of the door closing comes from the entryway. I take a short trip to the entryway, lock the door and rush back.
ごめんなさい。ソラちゃん怒らせちゃって。
ああ、大丈夫。怒ってないよ。いっつもあんな感じだから。
そう？
大丈夫、大丈夫。で、用事って？
別にないんだけど。今日二人きりになれてないなって。
So she actually does want to make out? Man, maybe I'm just an insensitive person, but I don't know. I feel like, didn't we just make out yesterday? Maybe girls need like reassurance like this when they're anxious. Or maybe not just girls, but guys too, but I don't know. She says in a tiny voice, fidgeting. Her whispered words pierce my heart.
ごめんなさい。早く帰れるように気を使ってくれてるのに。
いや。
I slowly shake my head. And I take her hand.
俺も二人きりになりたかったから。
Kujo squeezes my hand. The dark conversation from a minute ago is only a memory now. I'd love to stay like this. For a day, for a week. It even makes me wish we could live together. Just the two of us. You can stay tonight if you like. If only I could bring myself to say that. But it's far too embarrassing. So instead, I put up a brave front, pretending to be an ordinary guy who's worried about his girlfriend.
暗くなる前には帰らないとな。
We gaze into each other's eyes. What I want, what she wants, they're probably one and the same. Kujo narrows her eyes slowly before completely shutting them. With some reluctance, I let go of her hand, put my arms around her shoulders, and bring her closer to me. We share a kiss, a mere touch of the lips. Of course, that isn't going to be enough. So are they gonna have sex again? If so, this is actually... Guys! Come on! We just did this yesterday! I slip my tongue into her mouth. She accepts. We swap saliva. Our tongues entangle, hot and moist. I taste Kujo's warmth. A sweet numbness spreads over me. That's when I notice. The force in Kujo's kiss is fading, and she's begun to squirm. Her hand, resting on my chest, begins a gradual descent. God, are we actually gonna have an H scene? Man, this is why sometimes I wish I play all ages games, dude. Like, fuck! This, like, the previous one wasn't that bad, but the fact that they put this without any sort of really good transition, or not transition, but the spacing between these H scenes just disrupt the flow of the story. Kujo touches my erection, and I reflexively push her hand away.
ごめんなさい。痛かった。
あ、いや、
Only when she speaks do I realize that she really meant to do that. Kujo reached out for my crotch. I mean, I wasn't really expecting more than a kiss. Why did she try to touch me there? It's not how she normally acts, which confuses me. Yeah, that's also true, Kakeru. Why is she suddenly so slutty?
ごめんなさい。空気読めてなかったみたいで。
Is it lingering effects of her anxiety?
いや、あ、そっか。俺がこんなになってるからしたいと思ったのか。ごめんな、俺エロくて昨日したばかりだし無理しなくていい。まだ痛いだろ。
違和感はまだあるけれど、したいのはかけるくんだけじゃないよ。
マジで。
She nods, blushing. While I'm ecstatic, I'm still panicking on the inside. All my ridiculous attempt at being careful was snuff out Kujo's courage? Typo? I don't think that did was supposed to be there. All my ridiculous attempt at being careful did was... I think it's right, but man, that's such a bad wording! I don't think the person who localized this is an actual American. Wow, that's so bad. I could just laugh it off, but then I get this horrible idea that maybe she'd begin losing interest in me. I think that's actually should begun, yeah. And I start sweating.
ごめんなさい。ちょっと強引すぎたよね。
いや、違う。
I desperately deny it, trying to avoid disappointing Kujo any further. I've got to make her understand that I feel the same.
俺もできたらいいと思ってたけど、俺より都の負担の方が圧倒的にでかいから。
負担なんてないよ。ただ幸せなだけ。
I feel like this is like trying to pull the wolves on my eyes. They're trying to, you know, make us think that, yeah, girls can be lustful too, which isn't wrong, I guess. Or I don't know, maybe she just wants the warm embrace. Maybe she's putting love in her mind. Love equals physical intimacy, which is very dangerous for you to do, Kujo. I can't detect even a hint of a white lie in her sweet smile. And with that, I finally begin to calm down. I don't necessarily feel like love equals physical intimacy. It's a form of love, true, but I feel like that's only like 5% of what I consider love. Though some people would probably say I'm wrong because I've never actually, you know, sleep with someone, but I personally feel like it's not really all that important. Personally, communication is a lot more important than anything when it comes to love. I mean, if the other person wants to do it, I don't mind doing it, but it's like, you know, having sex is negligible in my love life.
それで私もしてみてもいい？かけるくんがしてくれたみたいに。
都が上になる。
上？触ってみたいなって。
あ、そうか。そうだよな。だから触ろうとしたんだよな。
ダメかな。
ちょい恥ずかしいな。
私だって恥ずかしかった。
そりゃそっか。じゃあ頼むよ。
頑張るね。
I stand up and walk over to the bed. I sit on the edge of the bed, and Kujo kneels down in front of me. Alright, guess we're not gonna be showing this on YouTube in a bit. Don't worry, people on YouTube. I do think this one is probably not being put very well in terms of where the H scene should be put, in my opinion. This just disrupt the flow, like I said. Kujo looks up at me from between my legs. Shit, this feels so wrong.
じゃあ、いい？
まあ、俺が。
ダメ。全部私がするの。かけるくんに脱がされた時、恥ずかしくて死にたかったんだから。
Sorry if I'm like breaking you guys' immersion. I know some people are into girls like Kujo here. Well, I'm not necessarily saying I'm not into her character or her mannerisms. I just feel like when I'm into a story, I feel like these are all of these things that are trying to hinder the story as something inconsequential, and it makes me a bit angry, or I guess angry is a bit too strong of an emotion. Annoyed.
すんません。
同じ気持ちになってもらうからね。
She giggles and starts working on my belt. She's not showing an ounce of nervousness. In fact, she looks like she's enjoying herself. I refrain from saying anything, burying my shame and letting Kujo enjoy herself. With a bit of hesitation, she undoes the button on my pants and unzips my zipper.
ちょっと腰上げてもらってもいい？
全部脱がさなくても、パンツの前に穴が開いてる。
本当だ。そうだよね。そうじゃないとおトイレ不便だもんね。
There's a what? There's a hole in front of your boxers? Damn. Examining everything with the utmost interest, she opens the front flap of my boxers. I guess he's using like those boxers where you have buttons on the front. I have a couple of those too, but I find those inconvenient. I'd rather just have a one-piece boxer. My erect penis rises up tall and proud, taking Kujo by surprise.
無理しなくてもいいぞ。
大丈夫。触ってもいい？
ああ、好きにしていいから。
She nods shyly and reaches for it, taking it in her grasp. Alright, I think this is where I'm gonna call it, right? Yup.
硬い。
Patreon when it comes to Azaikyousuke? Yeah, she just said, it's hard. God damn it. Don't worry, I don't think you guys are missing out on much, you guys on YouTube. The first H scene I actually do really like, but I do think this one is a bit excessive. But I guess, you know, they kind of know the demographic for people who play these games are usually into H scenes. So they probably want to feel like you guys have your money's worth. In my opinion, my money's worth is always whether or not a story is good. Not the amount of H scenes there are. Unless I'm looking for a Nukige, of course. But yeah, see you guys on YouTube. You guys on Patreon, enjoy while I also mute myself. Alright, we're back, YouTube. Wow, that actually went to the next day. We didn't even see whether or not she went home safely, but it's assumed that she did. I know that I said that the H scene was taking from the experience of the flow of the game, of the story. But I have to admit, the H scenes are nicely done. Like the animations, the you know, the dialogue that they had. They even rationalize how or why she wanted to do the H scene because, you know, she saw the memories of us doing lewd things with her. Right, whatever you say, game. But yeah, that was actually a really nice H scene in terms of just the visual quality and also everything else. I still stand by though the fact that it does make the story a bit less coherent. It kind of detracts the flow of the story in my opinion. But still, if you guys want to fap to it, that's an amazing scene. Alright, back to the story. I start my day a little earlier than usual. After meeting up with Miyako, Kujo and Sora, we wait for Kosaka-senpai to appear. She should be coming any moment now.
Miyako. 能力使うの抵抗あるだろうけど。ダメだ。
大丈夫。ユーザーの情報少しでも多くつかまないといけないし、自衛のためだもんね。
そうだな。
さ、昨日も思ってたんだけど。何？嫌なら直接聞けばいいんじゃないの？オフ会どうだったって。
高坂先輩が完全にこっちの味方ならそれもいいんだけどな。
敵なの？
そうじゃないと思いたいけど結構厄介な人なんだよ。
かけるくんに何回も能力をかけようとして。
わ、危険人物じゃん。了解、こっそりやっちゃおう。
記憶読むのってどれくらいかかる？一瞬か？
そうだね、そんなに時間はかからないけれど。
けど
思考回数が少なすぎるから予想なんだけど、印象の強いというか、そういう記憶が読みやすい気がして。
Yeah, which is why I think it's a plot hole that Kakeru's sense of guilt is actually more than his love. If it's true that his sense of guilt was the foremost, memory in his mind, he would have noticed the first time, or that would have been the first thing he noticed. What was being read by Miyako instead of his love, right? I don't know though, I'm someone who doesn't really think too much with his emotions, so Kakeru might have been feeling a bit heartbroken after the fact. But still, I don't know. I don't know, man. I do think it's a plot hole. That's how Kujo learned about my feelings for her. God, that sure was awful. But I suppose I have that to thank for our relationship. Guess I can't complain.
オフ会が先輩にとってどうでもいい記憶だったら読めないかもしれない。
かも。
ならちょうどオフ会のことを考えている時に能力を。いや、そんな都合のいいタイミング。
とりあえずさ、やってみたらいいんでないの？やってみないとわかんないんだし。そうだね。
気取られたくないってのもあるが、人前で能力を使うことになる。空がいてくれてほんとよかったよ。
Couldn't we like force her to think about the meetup by talking to her about the meetup and then using the, you know, we're gonna make ourselves as decoy, right? Make ourselves bait, and then Kujo is the one that's actually gonna bring up the memory. Sure, it's possible we might be in danger, but I doubt she's gonna use her power with so many people in the morning here. You know, with her whole like reverse harem thing.
なんかすっごく期待されてるところ恐縮ですが、私の能力実際しょぼいよ。すごいと思う。前も気づかれずに手紙を渡していたし、条件次第なんすよね。弱点もありまして、前に話した気がするけど。
なんだっけ？
実はもう私とみやこ先輩に能力使ってます。
普通に見えてるぞ。
つまりそれが弱点っすよ。存在感を超薄くするだけで透明になるわけじゃないんだよね。会話中とか意識されている状態で能力使っても効果なしってわけ。
Yeah, that's fine. You just gotta do it on someone that's clearly not focusing on you.
今ここで俺が2人から目をそらしたりしたら。
ずっと私たちのこと見てたわけじゃないでしょ。なんかニーヤの効果薄いんすよ。
Well, that's because both of you are, you know, occupying my mind a lot.
今までも何回かニーヤの前で能力使ってるけど、全く私を見失わないし。多分ニーヤンが私のこと好きすぎて、ニーヤンの中の私の存在感がゼロにならないんだな。
I mean, you're probably not wrong, but Kakeru's not gonna say that.
じゃあ念のため先輩の注意をそらした方がいいな。
そうだけど無視すんなよ。おい、
頼りにしてますよ、おそらさん。
おう、任せろい。注意をそらすってどうするの？
俺がやる。リスキーだがオフ会の話題も出してみる。意識させれば記憶も読みやすいよな。
かもしれないけど平気？
能力については気をつける。って言ってもどう対処すればいいかよくわかんないけど、ま、俺だけ無能力者だ。こういう時に役に立たないとな。
気をつけてね。
あ、
お、来やしたぜ、逆ハーレム軍団。
ここで待つ。2人は俺から離れていてくれ。
わかった。
Okay, so we are gonna act as decoy then. Exactly what I thought we would do.
じゃ、能力かけたまま離脱しますよ。用心して隠れとこっか。
Kujo and Sora split off, heading over by the convenience store. My eyes flit towards Kosaka-senpai for a moment, and even in just that split second, I lost sight of the two of them. Huh, Sora's powers are pretty cool. Though if I keep gawking in their direction, there won't be much of a point in them trying to keep out of sight. I pull out my phone and send him a message saying, once I start talking to her, it's go time. I then pretend like I'm playing with my phone, waiting for Kosaka-senpai to arrive. Now, if all goes according to plan... Bingo. I knew she would make first contact. I try to play it cool.
ああ、どうも。
もしや、私のことを？
すみません、妹です。毎朝待ち合わせをしてて。
元気そうな。よく電車が一緒になるんです。
If I was in Kakeru's shoes, I probably would have said I was waiting for her just to make her get caught off guard. She delicately covers a giggle. Behind her stands the stud brigade. They don't seem a bit displeased with me even though I have their queen's attention, and instead all stand around waiting politely, positively beaming. Man, she really did a number on these guys. Honestly, seeing this pisses me off. So it's not surprising when my temper flares up and I let a rather sarcastic quip leave my mouth.
すごいですね、お友達の数。
いえ、
違いますわ。
Why would that actually make you angry? The fact that she's, you know, abusing her power? The fact that she's surrounded by guys? Are you jealous? Like, who cares?
はい。
彼らは私の親衛隊なんです。
親衛隊。
Her smile looks strained, though she may not even realize that herself. It would be ridiculous to compare this level of deed to the murderer, but Kosaka-senpai is certainly showing the same lack of restraint in exercising her powers as the Evil Eye's user. Moreover, what if there's a user among those bodyguards of hers? What if her goal at the offline meetup was to collect a few guys with powers for her little army? If she can control even a user, there's a possibility that the Evil Eye's user is standing docilely behind her. That would be awfully convenient for our information gathering, but...
どうされました？
ああ、いえ。ネットでもリアルでもお姫様扱いですから、俺もあやかりたいなって。
まあ私の伴侶となってくださればその願いも叶えますよ。
やめておきます。ネットのファンが黙っちゃいない。アガスティアの歯、たまに見てるんですよ。
けれど会ったこともない方々ですし。
でも、オフ会されたんですよね。
ええ、先日。
本物はいました？
さあ、それはどうでしょう。
She smiles knowingly, perhaps trying to raise my hopes. Yeah, no duh, she's keeping it secret.
では、かける様、またいずれ。
Well, we did turn the conversation to that point, so even for a brief second, we might have gotten her to think about the offline meeting.
はい。また。
Senpai takes the hem of her skirt and gives an over-dramatic curtsy. I breathe a sigh of relief, happy to have escaped her trying to use her powers on me, and watch the queen's procession file by. Now then, I wonder if they managed to read her memories. I take a look around and spot the two immediately. They're walking towards me, so I go to meet them halfway.
どうだった？
うまくいったっぽいよ。あのね。
誰に聞かれるかわからない。ここで話すのはやめよう。
あ、そうだね。
At least we're being more careful now.
リンクでやり取りしよう。それなら多少は安心だよな。
I don't think so. Don't want to do anything online, man. That's very dangerous. Privacy online is, you know, a very serious issue.
わかった。私にも送ってね。私にも。グループの方で報告するね。多分有益な情報はつかめたと思う。
それを犯人に知られないようにしないとな。行こう。
もう帰りたい。能力使うとお腹すくんだよね。
やるよ。
ニーニのお昼じゃないのこれ。
購買で買うからいい。
わーい、お兄ちゃん大好き。かけるくん、やっぱりソラちゃんのこと大好きだよね。嫉妬しちゃうかも。やだ、早くも破局のキッキー。浮気されちゃってたか。
うっせえな。
I snap back at them, and for some reason they both grin. Their personalities aren't very similar, but Sora and Kujo seem to end up on the same wavelength a lot. I guess it's nice that they get along, but I've about had it up to here with the tag team teasing. I've about had it up to here. What the fuck? Is that actually right? Can't they just say I've about had it with the tag team teasing, that's it? Like, what the fuck, man? I'm gonna bitch on the localization so much in this game.
ほれ、行くぞ。
へいへい。はーい。
I take the lead as Kujo and Sora share their regular "you can put your bag in the basket" exchange, and we head for school. I sit impatiently through morning classes, waiting for lunchtime to roll around. I still haven't gotten a message from Kujo. She's much too straight-laced to text in class. Probably would be better to save this conversation until after school, all things considered. As much as I don't want to let the evil eyes user get the upper hand on us, rushing things isn't going to help. Just as I settle my internal debate, my phone vibrates. To my surprise though, it's not Kujo, but rather Sora. She's gotten impatient and is demanding a report. I glance over at Kujo to see her excusing herself from her friend's lunch group, so she can send a message.
ねえかける聞いてる？
あ、何？
だから九条さんのこと。
あ、
なんかさ、振られる前よりむしろ仲良くなってない？
そうかもな。
I give a non-committal reply as I fiddle with my phone. Truth is, I haven't told Yuichi that Kujo and I are going out. I mean, actually coming out and telling him would just be embarrassing, so why bother, you know?
まあでもよかったよ。僕のせいでギクシャクしちゃったらどうしようって思ってたし。
Starting to feel a little guilty here. If he's this concerned about us, maybe I should just come out and tell him. Nah.
また迷惑メール。
いや、妹。
ソラちゃんだっけ？可愛かったな。
かわいい。空が？
可愛いでしょ。僕がクラスメートだったらほっとかないよ。
正確に何割だけどな。
気にしないよ性格なんて。僕が可愛いって言ってたって伝えておいて。
Yoichi, stop thinking with your dick. What the fuck?
えいえい、わかったよ。
ほら、今送って。
わかったわかった。
With a great show of annoyance, I start typing the message. It should be good for a laugh at least, seeing as Sora has a tendency to freak out when you compliment her. Just when I'm about to hit send, I get a message from Kujo. Typo? It's quite the essay. It appears she's typed up everything she saw in Kosaka-senpai's memories. To break it all down, an offline meetup took place. Boys and girls both, no more than 5. No idea who was a user among any of them. 2 of them, one a boy and one a girl, met up with her again after the offline meet. They can be seen meeting up at the shrine. Shrine, okay. The shrine, huh? Interesting.
どうしたん？ヨイチ先輩好きってなった？
ならねえよ。まだ返事なし。
多分来るよ好きって。
もしそうなってもお前に妹はやらん。
シスコンかよ。
うるせえな。
While I'm verbally sparring with Yuichi, my mind is working on a completely different problem. Kusaga-senpai met an unknown boy and girl at the shrine. And in another branching world, Kujo was murdered at the shrine. I still sometimes say Miyako because the text says Miyako. I really don't feel comfortable saying her name is Miyako though. Is this a coincidence? No, this has to be fate. The culprit is among those 3. That's exactly why Kujo went to the shrine and got murdered. She might have seen the culprit in those memories.
何そのシリアス顔。何かっこつけてんの？
俺は常にシリアスな男だよ。
I feel like that's a bit too much of a jump in conclusion, Kakeru. I mean, it's okay to be cautious about it, but that's a bit too much speculation and assumption.
そんなのいいから妹さんをください。
自分で口説けよ。
それがめんどくさいから頼んでるんでしょ。
おま、せめて誠意を見せろ。やっぱお前に妹はやれん。
シスコンめ。
うるせえ。
Our nonsensical shouting match dissolves into the clamor of the lunchtime break. So they're meeting secretly at the shrine. Why there of all places? I doubt she'll know anything, but I do know one person I can ask. I guess it's Miss Naruse.
先生。
はいはい。
I exit the classroom as soon as afternoon homeroom ends and calls out to Miss Naruse, already walking towards the faculty office.
何？
ちょっと聞きたいことがあって。
何？授業わからないところあった？
ああ、いや、そういうのじゃ。
ああ、よかった。真面目な質問だったらめんどくさいなって思ってた。
What a very honest teacher. I sure do have one hell of a teacher.
それで何？
ああ、はい。なんていうか、最近神社に変な人たちいません？
My teachers back in high school though are actually very excited if you ask them like very serious questions. I guess because they're actually into teaching and also the subject that they teach themselves. But yeah, someone like Miss Naruse here clearly doesn't even want to be a teacher.
変な人は最近じゃなくてずっと前からいるけど、
え、ずっと前から？
アニメの影響たまに来るんだよね。マナーが悪い人もいるからちょっと迷惑だよね。
ああ、そんなこと言ってましたね。
どうしたの急に。
いや、最近夜に散歩してて近く通るんですけど。
ああ、夜か。そういえばお父さんがなんか言ってたな。
やっぱなんかいます？
若い子がたむろしてるって。特に実害はないんだけど注意した方がいいかなって悩んでたね。
So Kosaka Senpai is in contact with the evil eye user if we're to assume Kakeru's right. That means she's actually a lot more dangerous than I first thought then.
ああ、やっぱいましたか、そういうの。
揉めたりしたの？
あ、いや、そういうわけじゃ。
わざわざ聞きに来たから何かあったのかなって。
なんかやってるんじゃないかって気になっただけっす。いたずらとかそういうの。
心配してくれてたんだね。ありがとう。でも今のところは大丈夫かな。
I think Itazura is more like a prank than vandalism specifically.
9時過ぎまでいることもあるからちょっと心配なんだけどね、教師としては。教師としてはなんてこの人が言うなんて。
え？
って思ったでしょ。
いえいえ、思ってないですよ。
ミミくん結構表情に出るから気をつけなよ。
Miss Narsa pats me lightly on the arm with her logbook as she gives me a casual goodbye and walks off. So, they're gathering at the shrine late at night. Kujo said there were 3 people, but there could be even more. There could be more. If we assume that the Evil Eye's user is among them, could it be that they're searching for allies, just like how we did at first? So Kosaka Senpai is an accomplice. If there are a bunch of users forming an alliance, all of whom have no qualms about inflicting harm on others, that would spell bad news. With Sora and Kujo's combined abilities, they can neutralize their opponents while going undetected, but neither of them has mastered their powers. Nothing is decided yet, but I can't afford to let either of them go to the shrine. One bad decision could lead to not only Kujo falling victim, but also Sora. My job, as the guy without any powers, is to support them. Are you gonna go yourself? That's very risky. It's my responsibility to marshal every resource available. Man, if we are going ourselves, that's very risky, as I said.
私裏から入るね。
あ、バイト頑張って。
At least go with Yoichi or something. But then again, if we go with Yoichi, that puts Yoichi in danger. Quite the predicament. But going alone means it's very high risk that we're gonna die.
後でね。いや、私パフェ食べたい。
勝手に食べろ。おごらないぞ。
What would I do if I was in Kakeru's shoes? Maybe I would do like some sort of offline meeting too. Like post a thread or something on that Lisa Vagacia thing. That's probably what I would have done instead of going alone. Going alone seems very, very risky. We part ways with Kujo in front of the cafe and then Sora and I head inside. We take a seat and order drinks. I scan the room while putting the glass of water to my lips. Not here yet, huh?
お待たせしました。
Now wearing her work uniform, Kujo brings us our drinks. She places 2 cups of coffee side by side on the table.
いいなぁ、かわいいなぁ。私もバイトしようかな。
I mean, doing part-time work is probably a good idea when you're still in high school. Of course, as long as you get permission, Sora.
おじいさまにバイト募集しているか聞いておくね。ご注文は以上でよろしいですか？
あ、ありがとう。
ではごゆっくり。あ、いらっしゃいませ。
Just as Kujo gives us a little nod, the door to the cafe opens. There she is. Kujo is about to show her to a seat, but I stop her and wave down the girl from across the room, gesturing for her to join us. She clearly notices. Wow, this typo is so bad. I'm guessing they're either going to say like notices or sees, but they couldn't actually know what to put there, so they forgot to like delete the C's there. She clearly notices me, but ignores me anyway, taking a seat far away from us. Damn it, so cold as ice.
あの人がパフェクミーの？
ああ、空はここで待っててくれ。都も気にせず仕事を。
I get up from my seat and head over to Yuki's table. I don't bother with any niceties, instead plopping my rear down in the seat unceremoniously.
席を間違えている。
話がある。
私にはない。
マガンのユーザーの手がかりをつかんだ。
After avoiding eye contact this whole time, Yuki finally looks at me.
聞く気になったか？
そうね。
まあ、外れかもしれないんだけどな。
確実な情報でしか動かないのは武者のすること。真偽は自分の目で確かめればいい。
God, you're such a chuny, Noah.
俺の罠とは考えないのか？
それでも構わない。あなたへの疑惑が確信に変わるだけ。
なるほど。
早く本題に。ここへは心を休めに来ている。
You know, if it weren't for her like Chunibyo shtick, I probably would like Noah as a character. She's very like to the point, which I like in a person.
その前に確認したい。お前の能力を。
話すつもりはないと言ったはずだけれど。
俺が情報を与えてお前が返り討ちにあったら寝覚めが悪いだろ。絶対にマガンのユーザーに勝てるやつにしか情報は渡せない。
She glares at me. I got her this time. Hook, line, and sinker.
能力の詳細を明かす気はない。けれど、これだけは言っておく。石化の能力者は私に勝てない。私の G オーダーは無敵。
根拠は？
自分自身の能力を正しく理解しているから。
絶対に勝てる。
そうね。
Oh, sorry about that. She answers with a firm, confident smile. Of course, there's one way she could be so completely certain of her victory. That would be if she is, herself, the Evil Eye's user. And I can't rule that out. According to Kujo, the girl she saw in Kosaka's memories was wearing a hood, so she couldn't make out her face. Really. That hooded girl could very well be Yuki. However, I don't think that's likely. If Yuki were our Evil Eye user, she'd have had a ton of chances to kill both myself and Kujo.
信じるぞ。
ご自由に。
勇気の力を見込んで頼みがある。
So I guess we're gonna go together with Yuki here. I don't know whether or not I want to call her Yuki or Noah. I've been calling her Noah the first time before Kakeru actually calls her Yuki, so I think I'm gonna stick to Noah.
情報は
俺の頼みを聞いてくれたら
断る。
ただでとは言わない。取引をしよう。
Noah raises an eyebrow at me. Huh, I knew it. I had a feeling I could reel her in if I played to her melodramatic side. Yeah, kind of too easy. God damn it, Noah.
マガンのユーザーが仲間と集まっているかもしれない場所を掴んだ。
どこ？
それはまだ言えない。
私に何をしてほしいの？
一緒に来てくれ。相手もユーザーの可能性がある。頭数が欲しい。
用心棒というわけね。
ああ、
見返りは
この情報じゃダメか。
話にならない。
ならパフェをおごろう。1週間。
引き受けた。
Wow, that was easy. Wow, talk about enthusiastic. How much is the parfait? Maybe like 700 yen. Maybe more actually, I don't know, but the food here is supposed to be cheaper, right? So maybe about 700 yen. That was honestly the last response I expected. So let's say it's 700 yen, and I'm like lowballing that. We're gonna have to need to spend 4,900 for the whole week. But whatever, I'm just glad we made a deal.
助かる。頼らせてもらうぞ。
結婚はいつ？
今日から魔眼のユーザーを無力化するか、たむろしてる連中が無関係と分かるまで。
了解した。では今日の報酬を。
先払いか。分かった。
I
signal with my hand, calling Kujo, who's been keeping an eye on us the whole time, over to the table.
ご注文お決まりですか？
いつもチョコレートのパフェだよな。
今日は違う。フルーツの。
フルーツ？
I pick up the menu and look it over. God damn it, it's the most expensive one, isn't it?
チョコのよりお高いんだ。
What a very smart person.
そうね。フルーツたっぷりだもの。
Yeah, fruits are very expensive in Japan. Sorry for talking over you there, Noah.
チョコレートのでは。
どのパフェと指定はなかったはずだけれど、契約を破棄したいのならば別に構わない。
店員さん。
はい。
彼女に一番高いパフェを。
はい、フルーツパフェですね。少々お待ちください。
Okay, how much is that? I'm curious. After she gives a little bow, Kujo walks to the kitchen.
1週間よろしく。
Noah's merciless dig makes me start grinding my molars. Well, at this point, I know of at least one thing dying in this branch. My wallet. For Miss Narase's account, the three are sometimes loitering around until after 9 at night. I suspect they'll split up at 8, at the earliest, so I begin staking out the shrine around 7. Sora and I grab a quick bite for dinner and head to the meetup spot near the shrine. Oh wow, we're gonna meet everyone? Or we're gonna have everyone go? I guess it's a lot more... It's a lot safer than just having just me and Noah, but... Kujo, who has wrapped up her shift early, and Noah, our mercenaries, show up before too long.
作戦は
空の能力を使って境内に潜伏。3人が現れたら、都の能力で記憶を読む。
犯人だと確定できたら、アーティファクトを奪って無力化するだね。
ああ。もし気づかれた場合は。
私の出番ね。
ああ。その時は頼む。さっさと空に能力使ってもらって、境内で待機するか。
先に予防線張っておきたいのですが。
どうした？
She has a limit to how long she can use it?
今朝気づいたんだけど、人数増えるほど効果薄れる気がする。
I see.
4人もいるから厳しい？全く効果なしにはならないと思うけど、1人か2人にかけた時よりもかなり弱くなると思う。
So definitely just use it on you and Kujo. I don't think me and Noah are gonna be, you know... You guys are our ace in the hole.
補助のエンチャント範囲化すると効果がその分弱まる。
そうそんな感じです。だから能力があるからって油断してるとあっさり見つかったりするかも。
なるほどな。もしもの時は空自身と都優先で頼む。
ミヤは？
解除しちまえ。俺は男だしどうにでもなる。勇気も強いだろ。
そうね、問題ない。
じゃあ行こう。都もよろしくな。
頑張るね。
We start walking, heading for the shrine grounds. I take a few steps before I realize that Noah isn't budging from where she stands. So I turn and look back.
どうした？
一つだけ。 私の力なんて最初から当てにしていない。そうでしょ。
ノーコメントでいいか。
フルーツパフェの分は働くわ。
So she's going along with this even though she knows that we don't really trust that she's gonna get out of this alive.
頼りにしてる。
So she's really confident in her abilities. Noah harumps at me and walks by. I breathe out a sigh and catch up. To be honest, she's wrong. It wasn't my intention at all to use her as a decoy. However, I still opted not to answer, deciding that being coy was the best way to keep a hold on Noah. It goes without saying that if Kujo or Sora were put into harm's way, I'd be stuck making some hard decisions. But make no mistake, the first person to be used as a decoy, the first person to be sacrificed would be me. I mean, I agree with that. I personally have, like, have a personality of not wanting to cause other people problems. So if I were to cause problems first, it would be for myself, not for other people. I have no intention of just being the guy giving orders. I catch up to Kujo and Sora, who have stopped near the temple gate, and stand next to them. Because the shrine grounds are barely lit, it's tough to see much of anything. Where the Naruse family lives is actually a ways away from the shrine itself. So this is pretty much a perfect spot for clandestine meetups. What the fuck is that word? What is that word? Clandestine? What?
どこに隠れる？
そうだな。そら、能力は？
もう使ってる。大きい声で話したらあっさりバレるかも。
了解。ひとまずここから移動して橋の方に。
待って。どうしました？
Noah silently points her finger. It's so dark that I can't make much out. After straining my vision, I notice there's a black shadow in the midst of the dark grounds. A person? At least, it definitely looks like it.
もういる？どうしよう。落ち着いて。まだこちらに気づいた様子はない。
あっち側からゆっくり近づこう。
We get some distance from the silhouetted figure, moving into the deeper shadows. From there, we creep towards them, sticking to the darker areas. Acting as carefully as if we weren't under the effects of Sora's powers, we close the distance carefully and silently. Kujo was murdered here. There's a very real possibility that silhouetted figures are murderer. The culprit should be on the lookout for us, especially Kujo. We can't afford any mistakes. If possible, I want to settle the score tonight and start leading a peaceful life. With every step, I assume, the silhouette grows closer, typo, and my pulse quickens. I wish we could get within 30 feet of them, 10 meters, but there's nothing to use as cover.
いいや。これ以上近づきたくないかも。
わかった。
この辺りでしばらく様子を見ようか。
そうだな。一人はもう来てるな。他の二人も来る可能性が高い。三人揃うまで。おい。
Noah ignores her discussion and tries to step out of cover alone, but I snag her arm before she can.
何してる？
警戒するだけ無駄。
はあ？
読めば聞くわ。あの男が私たちの意識を抜けることは決してない。
Okay. Noah shakes off my hand, ignoring Kujo's plea, and brazenly walks up to the silhouetted figure.
私のそばにいないと能力切れるよ。
仕方ない。二人はここにいてくれ。
So that one's a guy. I thought that So this isn't a silhouette. That means that we can't see them, right? I guess this isn't a cloak-wearing person.
でも
いいかな。そう、都を頼む。
ほいほい。
I rushed to catch up with Noah. What the hell is she thinking? Maybe inviting her here was a mistake. I'm working myself into a frenzy. Except that the closer I get to the figure, and the clearer I can make it out, the less agitated I feel. My legs get heavy. My steps drag. There's no way that guy is going to notice this. Why? She was right. It is indeed a guy. Oh, wow. Already turned into a statue. More accurately, a stone statue of a boy who will never move again.
白線の制服。
知り合い
見たことない。
I can't keep my panic down, but Noah is utterly calm as she checks out the statue. Damn it. I was all set to ambush the culprit, and instead, all we found was the third victim. Could we have saved him if we had just come quicker? So this guy took Kujo's place, huh? I'm covered in cold sweat. There was a time when I would have thought this was a regular statue, but now I know for a fact that this was once a person. I feel like I'm going to puke. Noah finds something. Next to the statue, there's a piece of paper lying on the ground. I assume it's for Kosaka-senpai. Oh, what the? He actually did it himself? Are you sure?
犯人が見逃したのか。
Huh? Exactly, huh? I take the scrap of paper Noah hands me. It's too dark to read it. I light up the note with a flashlight app on my smartphone. You don't need an app on your smartphone for the freaking flashlight. Just drag like the top screen, and you have a flashlight there. I feel as though I'm being crushed under the weight of my sins. Before I lose my mind, I'm turning myself to stone and putting an end to it all. Huh. I don't think so.
僕自身。
素直にやりたいのなら自分で自分を一新してこんなことになるな。
Noah, your voice is very low.
設定だよ。
And you're already on max. Her voice is very low, guys.
元の設定だよ。
I think I'm gonna actually turn off the master volume and then lower the BGM a tiny bit more. Because Noah's voice is very, very low. Friendly version, Miyako initial version. Huh. Interesting.
自分？じゃあ待て、こいつが。
石化の能力者
I don't know. What I'm thinking is that maybe the petrification powers could be swapped or can be jumping to multiple people if they use it on people, but I don't know. I don't think it's that stupid of a power.
嘘だろ。
I can't believe it. But it's the only thing that makes sense. The note reveals that this man is in fact the Evil Eye's user.
3人目の犠牲者は犯人自身。
I turn around at the sound of Kujo's voice. The other two joined us at some point. Both Kujo and Sora are looking down at the statue in astonishment.
どういう。
都、この男に見覚えは。
高坂先輩の記憶に神社で会っていた推測自体は当たっていたというわけね。
Noah crouches down and examines the man's face. The girl from that one time looked to be in pain. But this man's face is tranquil.
罪の意識に押しつぶされるのならば初めから犯罪など犯さなければいいのに。
Then why did he destroy Kujo's statue? Why did he turn Kujo into a statue?
この男はしっかりと裁かれるべきだった。自分だけ楽に行くなんて。
I refuse to believe this is him. He probably did want to suicide, and the person who actually does have the petrification power made him, you know, into a stone. She spits and then stands up. That could also, you know, like, explain the reason why he's in tranquil. Because he does want to actually suicide. Next, she turns around and looks me in the eye.
私の仕事はこれで終わりね。契約通り報酬は支払ってもらう。1週間分。それじゃ。
Without a hint of hesitation, Noah confidently strides away. We don't watch her walk off, instead turning our attention to the stone statue that was once our culprit. I still don't trust him. I don't trust that suicide note.
幕引き。本当にこれで終わり。石像の記憶を読むのはさすがに無理。ダメみたい。
If he is the petrification or the evil eyes user, search him for the artifact.
この遺書しか今は判断材料がないな。
The handwriting is all crooked. I could see it just being regular old sloppy writing, but I could also see it being shaky due to the guy being forced into writing this.
これでもう誰も死なない。そうだね。でもたとえ犯人自身でもまた死人が出てしまった。素直に喜べない。
Kujo clenches her left hand into a fist, her stigma glowing faintly. Yes, it's just like Kujo to see things that way. If only we could have settled things more peacefully. But as for me,
空、
初めて見たけどなんかこれが人って実感が。
そんな実感持たなくていい。都と二人で先生のところに行ってくれ。
さつきちゃん。
ああ、放置はできないだろう。
かけるくんは。
警察を、先生の許可なく呼ばない方がいいか。まだ何かあるかもしれない。こいつを調べる。
じゃあ私も。
こんなののそばにいない方がいい。先生ん家で休んでてくれ。
行こう、みやこ先輩。
she doesn't seem happy about me sending her away. My sending her away, come on, man. Come on now. But when Sora tugs at her hand, Kujo leaves the scene. I wait until the two are out of sight, and then I crouch down like Noah was doing earlier, investigating the man. I mean the statue. There's not a trace of flesh and blood remaining. He's been completely turned to stone. Can we not see the face? So he wrote this note, and then he used his power on himself. I have a feeling we're gonna stop before we see his face here, the panning camera. I'm gonna actually wait before we... Yup, it stopped.
ソフィー、いるか。
もちろん。
Not a moment after I call her name, space distorts and Sophie shows herself. Since it seems she's been watching the entire time, I can skip the explanation.
見つけたのはいいけれどってところかしら。
そうだな。自分を石化する。そんなことできるのか。
自分の力が自分に返ってくる。その例はもう目にしたでしょ。
火事のあいつか。
アーティファクトが見当たらないわね。
Okay, so if he did turn himself to stone, maybe the artifact got stolen by one of the other two that he was meeting with. Could be Kosaka senpai, so that means she has two artifacts. Or it could be the other girl with the hood.
一緒に石化したか。
いいえ、アーティファクトは石化しない。
じゃあ自分で消えた。
This is 510, right?
セーブする？セーブしたよ。
It's not shown what date we're at. I'm trying to remember what date Kujo died. I believe it was at 5-7 or 5-9, so this is a couple of days after. So I'm trying to understand who actually killed Kujo in that timeline. Whether it was this guy, or if it was already someone who took the artifact. I don't know.
そうね。他の主をもう見つけてしまったのかもしれない。あるいは
魔眼のユーザーはこいつじゃない。
Yeah, that could be that too.
そういう可能性もあるでしょうね。
Yeah, that was my first speculation. We track down a lead, and the very night we go to investigate it, the culprit commits suicide. Its timing is so convenient. Maybe they really did just give up, feeling they had nowhere else to run. No, I don't think so. But could you really say we had them so thoroughly cornered? Would they choose death so readily, even though they knew about our movements in such detail? Now I'm getting back to my initial thoughts that this might be Miss Naruse again. She told us about the fact that we were meeting just yesterday, right? Or was it today? So she was the only one that would have known that we would investigate the shrine sometime soon. So only she would have actually done something this quickly. At least, that's my deduction. Or perhaps precisely because they had such a firm grasp on our progress, they got tired of trying to hide from us. Who can say? There is one thing I'm certain of though. If this guy wasn't our culprit, whoever they are, they won't be showing up here again.
手がかりを失った。
仮にこの子が犯人じゃなかったにしても、息を潜めるでしょうね。よほどのバカじゃない限り。
だろうな。都の能力を使ったとしても。
あなたの行動が先読みされている以上、無駄かもしれないわね。
未来を予知するアーティファクトは
ないとは言い切れない。少なくともセフィロトで管理はしていないし、発見もしていない。もっとも、そんな強力なアーティファクトが未発見であるはずはないし、単純にあなたよりも上手だっただけでしょうね。
上手だったか。
Sure wish I could brush that concern away so easily.
これからどうするつもりだ？
結論を出すのはしばらく様子を見てから。
そうか。
あなたたちのアーティファクトのこともあるしね。仕事は山積み。ひとまずはお疲れ様。よく頑張ったわね。何の成果もなかったけれど。
一言余計なんだよ。
Sophie smiles wryly. I don't know why we suddenly say Sophithia there. Sticking out her tongue as she returns to her world. I hear voices off in the distance. Someone's coming this way. Looks like Miss Narsa and the others are here. What a relief. Kujo may lament there being another victim, but I'm just happy this chapter is over. Whether this guy was the culprit, or whether there's a new culprit out there in his place. Either way, the curtain is drawn in this mystery for now. As long as we don't pursue them any longer, Kujo should not be targeted again. Are you sure though? Things have come to a close. Regardless of the truth of the matter, it's safe to say that this is the end.
魔眼のユーザー、どうか眠っていてくれ。永遠に。
My words are far too cold to be considered a prayer. I laid the note atop their cold, hard leg, and I slowly rise to my feet. "5:26, so we're about 2 weeks after here? May is almost over. I'm actually already been recording for 2 hours, but I think I'm gonna go a bit longer because there was an H scene. Outside, it's hot enough that you can break a sweat just walking around. I might be able to end the episode because it seems there's a resolution here for the first episode of the game. Summer is on its way. An ordinary summer, leaving no bad memories, empty of grand mysteries. The guy at the shrine was never declared to be the culprit behind a series of murders. Instead, the police announced he had died of a mysterious illness, just like the other victims. They're just sweeping it under the rug. The population at large refuses to see this as anything more than a bizarre illness that turns people into stone. That being the case, it doesn't even make sense to talk about a culprit. I still don't know how they tried to explain away the suicide note. They certainly didn't feel a need to tell me. I was just a guy who happened to report the statue. You're the second guy who reported 2 statues though, Kakeru. For all we know, the police might be trying to investigate you. So that's why I did my own legwork and investigated. The guy was the owner of the forum, the Leafs of Agostia. Turns out he was on friendly terms with Kosaka-senpai as well, and had met with her several times. Kosaka-senpai didn't know that he was the culprit behind the petrification incidents, I think. She was in shock and unable to speak, so it's not like she told me that herself, but you could tell just from the way she reacted to the news. But that's only her one personality though, Kakeru. What about the haughty personality? And so that left one suspect unaccounted for, the hooded girl, whose identity we still didn't know. That man ended up the last victim. Nobody else has fallen prey to the evil eye since that night, and the petrification incidents have stopped. Our life is back to normal. Nothing out of the ordinary. I walk to school in the morning and spend my day in class. Once school is out of session, I make my way home. Sometimes I make a few detours along the way. Sometimes I just head straight there. I while away my time however I feel like. And when night rolls around, I go to bed and await tomorrow. Life is back to being mundane. What about Kujo?
かけるくんできたよ。
She sets out the dishes on the table. It's my favorite, Salisbury steak, a Caesar salad, and a cup of soup. And of course, a heaping helping of rice. That's a lot of food. Everything made for 2. Lately, perhaps out of consideration for us, Sora has stopped showing up at my apartment. Kujo says she misses having her around, but personally, seeing as how this means the 2 of us get to make out as much as we want, I find this to be a welcome change.
いただきます。
いただきます。
After we offer thanks, we pick up our chopsticks.
今日は和風だ。
大葉使ったけど大丈夫？
I don't think that even is what she said. What the fuck?
好物。
よかった。かけるくんって嫌いなものないよね。
そうだな。だいたい食えるな。
パクチーは？
食える。
あ、すごい。
Cilantro is fine.
苦手？
香りが強いからかな。あんまり得意じゃなくて。でも、かけるくんが好きなら使ってみようかな。
I mean, you don't have to force yourself to eat what I like.
好きってほどじゃないからいいよ。みやこと一緒に美味しく食べたいし。
今日のどう？美味しい？
うん。めっちゃうまい。
よかった。
We make idle chatter the rest of the way through dinner. It's already been almost a month since we started dating. I'm so used to us being alone together that I've stopped acting awkward over every little thing. Though that doesn't mean she doesn't make my heart pound every now and then. The time I spend with Kujo is bliss. Did I say Miyako before? I honestly hope this relationship lasts forever. That said, there's still one worry I can't shake.
明日ってバイト？
お昼過ぎまで。日曜日はシフト入れてないよ。
じゃあどっかって俺毎週誘ってるな。
嬉しい。行きたい。
この前は映画見に行ったし、今回は
お食事中にお邪魔するわよ。
What is it, Sophie? Oh, I thought we were gonna have a serious discussion. This music is playing. A hole in space tears open, and Sophie emerges onto the dining table. Christ, it's like she's doing this intentionally.
ソフィーさん、お久しぶりです。
お久しぶり。今日はお別れを言いに来たのよ。
Huh.
お別れ？
そう。一時的にだけれどね。
ごめんなさい。あまり力になれず。
So I assume she found someone else that she could associate herself with.
仕方ないわ。魔眼のユーザーが派手に動いてくれたせいで、まだいるはずの他のユーザーが目立つ動きをしてくれないんだから。魔眼も行方知れず。あの男が持ち主だったとしても、自害してアーティファクトが消えた以上、新たな魔眼のユーザーが生まれているはず。その手がかりは一切なし。しばらく様子を見ていたけれど、動く気配が全くないんだもの。そろそろこの枝に見切りをつけるわ。他の枝のあなたたちに期待することにする。
I see. Is this where we're actually gonna end? I see. So this is gonna be just like 999, isn't it? So Sophie's gonna be the actual person that sees the other branches and tells something to the other branches when she's stuck in a loop. Or not a loop, but in a bad ending. I see. So that's how this game is structured. So that's why there's episode 2, 3, and 4. Those episodes actually have, you know, Sora, Haruka Senpai, and also Noah. Because I'm guessing we actually get close to those guys instead of Kujo in those games, right?
じゃあこの間のソフィーの仕事は終わりか。
そうね。ま、何かあればまた動くけれど、それまで待機ね。
Yeah, that's what I assume is going to happen. She's probably gonna come back to this branch. Because technically this isn't a bad ending. We just don't have anything else to go off on. We basically are out of leads.
それにしても意外だったわ。この世界の人間は理性的なのか、それとも臆病なのか。せっかく得た力を使わないなんて。
Yeah, they are kind of being super rational. The fact that they use their powers 3 times and then they just go off into the shadows means that they knew they were being targeted and they're kind of scared of it.
都の能力では非効率的すぎるし、もっと楽に回収できたはずだったのに、おかげで私の評価に響いちゃうわ。
じゃあせめて私のアーティファクトを。
あらそう？ありがとう。と言いたいところだけど、それはもうしばらく預けておくわ。
Yeah, she still wants to keep an eye on this timeline. Because like I said, there's actually nothing going wrong in this timeline right here.
また魔眼のユーザーが動き出した時のためにですか。
そうね。大勢のユーザーを探すには非効率だけど、たった一つのアーティファクトを奪うためなら、あなたの能力はとても役に立つ。だから預けておくわ。誰にも奪われないように気をつけなさい。はい。それとかける？
あ
あなたの能力、結局わからなくてイライラするわ。何か変わったことはないの？
あ、全く
体のどこかにスティグマは？
ないな。
自分では確認できない場所かも。
No, it's not on my dick, Sophie.
都に見てもらった。ない。
あら、 裸を見せ合うような関係だったの？かけらが
悪い。
この程度のことでうろたえるなんて、まだまだお子様ね。あなたの能力を解明できなかったことが最大の心残りではあるけれど、いつまでも監視なんてしていられないしね。
Well, you know what? Maybe I could rationalize the fact that we never knew about, you know, the pyromaniac guy actually being killed is because Sophie withheld that information in this timeline. Maybe you can chalk it up that way instead of Kakeru not finding out. But I don't know, it still doesn't bode well with me.
やっとお前の目を気にしなくて済むな。
寂しいくせに。
I look away and shrug my shoulders. Sophie harumps and rips a distorted hole in space.
それじゃお邪魔虫は消えるわね。また会えますか？もちろん。預けっぱなしにしておくつもりはないもの。そのアーティファクトを回収しに来るわ。いつか必ずね。
まあなんだ。暇だったら遊びに来いよ。
やっぱり寂しいんじゃない。
うるせえな。
それじゃあね。さようなら。また。
I still don't trust Sophie though. Kujo waves warmly and Sophie waves back in suit as she disappears into the subspace rift. Tata for now, huh? She just said sayonara, damn you, localization. But only for now. This isn't over yet.
預けておくか。
She pulls out the hair clip, the artifact from her pocket, and places it on the table. As long as Kujo and this accessory are bound together, things aren't over.
次会えるのはいつになるだろうね。
Well, probably after... I don't know. Maybe at the end of the next episode? Like the game, I mean?
ソフィーには悪いが、来ない方がいい。それに、そいつも回収して欲しかったよ。
I don't know, man. If the evil eye user is still alive, if we don't have any way to counter them with an artifact of our own, I think Kujo's in very much danger, you know?
そうだね。私には過ぎた力かもしれないし。でも、
そいつがあれば、二人目の魔眼のユーザーを止められる？
今度は失敗したくない。誰も犠牲にしたくない。
今度は。
I murmur, popping a tomato into my mouth. Kujo almost says something, but decides against it, returning to her meal. I don't mean to come across as angry. That's probably how she's taking it. Still, I can't force myself to smile. So we sit and eat in silence.
ごちそうさま。
もういいの？
ああ、ありがとう。うまかった。
食器そのままでいいよ。私が片付けるから。
ありがとう。ちょっと風に当たる。
I sack up my dirty dishes, stand up, open the glass door, and step out onto the veranda. The breeze tonight feels great. It's getting warmer lately, so the early evening air feels nice and cool. But inside, I'm anything but cool. I still have that same doubt hanging over me. The artifacts remain in this world. The evil eye is out there. And Kujo is a user. She may be targeted again. Even without her being a user, she is still gonna get targeted, Kakeru. Because the artifact user or the evil eye user knows that she is still a user. If I at least had a power of my own, if only my power would reveal itself. Hell, where even is my artifact in the first place? If the artifact aren't going away, then I want the power to protect Kujo.
かけるか？
I hear Kujo's voice. I grunt, not turning around. I stare out for a little while longer, before I notice Kujo has come to stand next to me.
怒ってる？
ああ、いや、 そうじゃない。
じゃあ私のこと心配してくれてる？
そうだな。
When I admit it, Kujo breaks into a smile.
私ね、ずっと考えてたの。なんでかけるくんと仲違いしたのかなって。
別の枝の話か？
そうそう、多分だけどね。
ああ。
かけるくんにいいところ見せようとしたのかな。
Well, yeah, you tried to turn into the perfect version of yourself inside of my head.
仲違いじゃなかったってこと。
Yeah, which is why I said we could have fixed that. We could have fixed that if Kakeru just said he still likes you. She smiles again, bumping into me and wrapping her arm around mine.
多分ね、かけるくんの気持ちを知って私じゃ釣り合わないって思ったんだと思う。
どうして？
火事の時かなり衝撃だったの。ソラちゃんのために必死になって、ただのクラスメイトの私まで守ってくれて、この人すごいって心から思った。自覚はなかったけど、あの時にかけるくんのこと好きになってたんだと思う。
I don't know, Kujo. I feel like such fleeting emotions and they're not rooted enough for me to believe that they're love. I'm one of those people that definitely overthinks when I feel something. But I feel like when I do that, that's when I actually found the truth though, rather than being swayed by emotions that are, like I said, fleeting.
そうか？
うん、だって私の態度が変わり始めたのあの頃からじゃない？
ああ。
Come to think of it, that was around when she started cooking for me. She started talking more casually too.
かけるくんの気持ちを知って自分の気持ちに気づいて。
This game sure draws beautiful eyes, man.
このままじゃダメだって思ったのかな。私かけるくんのことを神格化しちゃってるから。
Don't put people in like pedestals, guys. That's never a good idea. You always want to be like equal. Come on now.
大げさだな。
でもそうなの。だからね、私も頑張らなきゃって。それで暴走しちゃったのかな。かけるくんにいいところ見せようとして一人で頑張って、結局何もできず、私は魔眼のユーザーに負けて死んだ。
No, I really did not think it was your fault, to be honest, Kujo. I really did think it was Kakeru's fault for withholding such very important information.
わかる？
何が？
私はかけるくんと一緒じゃなきゃダメってこと。
Kujo takes my hand and squeezes it tight.
かけるくんと一緒だから私は生きてる。かけるくんと一緒ならこれからも生きていける。かけるくんがいるから私は大丈夫。約束もしてくれたから。
Well, that's a pretty nice way of putting it.
絶対に守る。
She smiles sweetly. As she holds my hand, my own grip naturally gets tighter.
アーティファクトの力も残してもらってよかったと思う。使い方を間違えなければ私を救ってくれると思うから。
But I didn't in that timeline, Kujo. I didn't. Because I was too late. I was stuck in my own, like, egotistical echo chamber about the fact that you hate us.
その使い方はかけるくんが教えてくれる。かけるくんがいないと私は間違えちゃうから。
So she's trying to tell me her route is definitely the true route. Even if all the other episodes are going to be us getting closer to other girls, this is gonna be the true ending, right? She smiles kindly, almost as if she's assuring me that she needs me, that I don't have to worry. Now I get it.
一緒なら怖いものはないか。もう一度約束する。何があっても都のことは守る。
守られちゃいます。これからも末永くよろしくお願いします。
ああ。うん。なんか今の夫婦みたいだな。あれ？
本気にしちゃうからそういう冗談やめてください。
冗談は言ってないけど。逆玉だ逆玉。
ああ、そういうこと考える人だったんだ。お付き合い考えないとな。
振られてもまとわりつくぞ。約束したからな。
そうだね。約束してくれたもんね。
We stand out there in the veranda, hand in hand. Our fingers interlaced. Hers warm and soft. Mine a little calloused. Mine is very callous, Kakeru. With the amount of training that I do, they've been ripped open into shreds multiple dozen times. Maybe even hundreds now. Feeling each other's pulse, confirming each other's love.
ずっとあなたのそばにいさせてね。
ああ。都の手離さない。
A gentle breeze blows. It swirls around to both of us, ruffling our hair. My worries have not abated. My doubts are still lingering in a corner of my mind. As long as the artifacts remain in this world, another incident is bound to occur. And when it does, Kujo will be there to deal with it. She might even be put into danger. Even so, we'll face forward. Not slowing down, not looking back. No matter what difficulties may be waiting for us down the road, we'll overcome them. Hand in hand. Together, we can do anything. Yeah, that is the ending for the first episode. 6 episodes for one game, huh? If there's 4 games and an extra one, I guess this is gonna be about 30 episodes, I'm gonna assume. How do I feel about this first episode? They're really world building it very nice. But I really wish they resolved that issue with Kakeru and Kujo in the very first timeline. You know what? Maybe that very first timeline is the actual true ending. And we're gonna find out. I don't know though. I don't know whether or not Sophie can actually go to the past. Yeah, see, that's the thing, right? I don't think Sophie can actually go to the past. She can only. But that doesn't make sense. If she can't go to the past. I don't know. I'll have to see how the second episode plays out first before giving my thoughts. I was gonna say, I wonder if the second episode is gonna start us at the very beginning. Just that we don't have any interaction with Kujo. At least not as much interaction anyway. We'll see. Just enjoying the music for now, I guess. I definitely had an enjoyable time with this game. It's just, yeah, that first timeline really bothers me. That first timeline really made me not able to enjoy the second timeline as much. Purple Software? Wait, this game is made by Purple Software? That's the guy who actually made Happy Maher, the game that I played back in 2020. Palette. So is it Palette or Purple Software? Maybe both of them. Maybe one's the publisher and one's the developer. So any epilogue that will lead us to the second episode? Or is that truly it? Oh my god! Guys, come on! Are you actually having sex right now? Oh my god. Shut up, Kujo! Patreon.com/Azaikyousuke. I can't believe they ended this off with the fucking H scene. You guys on YouTube... I mean, it's a hot H scene, but come on! You can't just do this! 2 H scenes in a single episode. On a story game. God damn. Alright, people on Patreon, enjoy. So are we actually good this time? Oh my god. They faked me out, guys. I was gonna like talk because I thought the H scene was over, but then they faked me out. Actually gotta censor a tiny bit of your boobage there, Kujo, on the bottom left. Well, now I gotta censor your sprite too. Yes, I know you're gonna use your powers on my semen. Wait, what? Can't use your powers? What's going on? Okay. So the powers are getting stronger or what? Is that really the ending? What the heck? So that's the hooded figure. It's a girl. That really where they're gonna end this? So it's said to be continued, but I don't know whether or not we're actually gonna be looking at this branch on the next episode. And why is this triple right here? Why is there 1, 2, 3 right here? I'm kind of curious now. Well, either way, I do believe we found the right ending. I guess the reason why this is like this is because you can probably still mess up in this timeline and you might still be able to get this timeline again where she does disappear or where she does die. And yeah, this is probably just the ending. Well, I've already said what I wanted to say at the end of the credits. And while I do think this is a pretty decent and nice game, nice story, gotta say the 8 scenes are top notch though. Damn. Guess that's not the only thing that they put budget on. The 8 scenes are pretty nice. Like the animations aren't overblown or whatever. Not like some animations for 8 scenes. This one is just subtle and it's pretty nice. But that last one was clearly fan service. I can't believe they put another 8 scene before they tried to make it into the like to be continued, like scene or screen. But alright, I think this is gonna be where I end the episode. I sadly don't think I'm gonna be able to do episode 2 when I'm going on my trip to Vietnam. I'll try to. I'll bring my like small PC so that I can record some stuff there. But no promises. I don't even know if my hotel Wi-Fi can even upload my stuff. Is the question, right? Guess we'll see. But with that said, hope you guys enjoyed the first episode of 9-9. Well, not the first episode, but like the first game. And we will be continuing more on the second game in about 2 weeks from now. So for people on Patreon, that's about the time length. If I could record more next week, I'll definitely upload it and also record some more. But no promises. But for people on YouTube, this will be out in 2 to 3 days. Or the next episode will be out in 2 to 3 days, as usual. Since you guys are way behind on the upload schedule. But yeah. Enjoyable time, enjoyable characters. Sadly, the only thing that's really messing me up is just the fact that I really want to see the conclusion of this first timeline. But alas, maybe that's gonna be for the finale of the game. We'll see. Maybe even the second episode it's gonna address it. But I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, I forgot to plug the usual thing. Give this video a like if you guys like it, sub if you guys haven't. Patreon will be getting these episodes early access along with everything uncensored. And we got like 2 8 scenes. So they were pretty lengthy, about 20-25 minutes each. They were pretty hot. Can't deny that. And yeah, for people on YouTube that aren't on Patreon just yet, feel free to become a free member because that's gonna be where I put first episode previews of future playthroughs. See ya!